On this computer. All right. Hi, everyone. This is Julie Kim, and today I'm going to be hosting a workshop on 3 strategies my students use to get accepted into their dream colleges. And my students, they really vary from low GPA, middle, all the way to 5.0, really, really fantastic GPA and SAT scores. And so it really depends on the child's case, but from their perspective and from their quantitative measures, students get accepted into colleges that are definitely higher ranked than what their GPA and SAT says. So let's get this started. I'm so excited that I will be sharing all the information with you. And so let's begin. Let's do a quick check-in before we get started. Okay, so you're in the right place this evening if you want practical strategies and pitfalls to avoid. You're also in the right place if you want some refreshing and proven ideas on how to make your child's college application stand out, even if your son doesn't have or daughter doesn't have the best GPA and SAT scores. But don't worry, because like I mentioned, all the strategies that I'll be teaching you today applies to students with high GPA, SAT scores as well. And you're also in the right place if you as a parent want a better understanding of the college admission process and especially what they're looking for. Because let's face it, there's just too much information out there. And now I hear so many parents saying, I don't know what information to trust or follow anymore. But lastly, and most importantly, you're in the right place if you want your child to be happy throughout this process and not get caught up in the comparison trap or rat race. And by this, I mean taking so many SAT and ACT exams until it's perfect, attending a bunch of expensive summer programs and hoping that that'll be enough, and, enrolling in, research programs and competitions and contests without understanding the why, right? Like, why am I doing this? Is this to really get the education, or is it for a college application, right? So you're getting the point here. Here's the reality. Students and parents are bound to make some mistakes because they're trying this and that and simply hoping for the best in the application process, right? So not moving with so much confidence and clarity, but filling the requirements and criteria and hoping for the best, right? Following what's popular, right? Accepting your friends' advice or suggestions. Especially I hear students saying, one of my seniors who got accepted into Brown told me that, he took Stanford research program and he got accepted into Stanford, right? So things like that. And lastly, moving through the college admission process with absolutely no clarity and simply trying to get as many things done as possible. You're getting the point here. And these are the mistakes that I'm really, really noticing these days. And I hear you. This is something that a lot of parents say, I want the best for my daughter, right? And you want this. You want the best for your daughter. And you want to provide whatever you can so that your child is maximizing his or her chances of getting accepted into their dream colleges. And you also want to make sure that you and your son give the best shot, because your child only has one shot at this. Your daughter only has one chance to make this work. We only get to apply to college once. And you feel so much pressure and anxiety because of this. Getting accepted into college is becoming more and more competitive. The acceptance rate drops every admission cycle simply because more students are applying. This is a Business Insider article that was published last year about how getting perfect scores on SAT, having top 5% GPA in high school are just not good enough anymore. Can you believe this? A month ago, USC, University of Southern California, released that they were only able to accept 13% of its applicants this year, simply because so many top applicants applied. So many people are applying. That's the issue. So take a look at the acceptance rate for 2014. It was almost 18%, and now it's at 13%, 5% drop. So to combat all of this competition, lots of parents and students are just looking into professional guidance, right? And just last year, in the United States, $400 million was spent on private college consultants. But unfortunately, students are still getting rejected from Ivy League top-tier colleges and their dream colleges, even with the help of college admission consultants and professionals, and even with best GPA and SAT scores. Have you heard stories like, oh, I know this kid in town, he's done everything, he's in national competitions, he has straight A's, and he still got rejected, right? So these are the stories that I'm talking about. So where is a disconnect? Who is getting accepted? And for those students, what are they doing differently? So let me tell you what is happening. Most college counselors give similar advice to their students. They'll say, get the best grade that you could possibly get while maximizing the quantity of your AP classes. So take a lot of AP classes to show rigor. Keep a running record of volunteering hours and get those presidential awards, right? Attend summer camps and programs and keep yourself busy during summertime. Get the best SAT and ACT and AP exams and subject tests and all these numbers after numbers, right? Run for president of your club and show leadership, even if you don't want to particularly be a president, right? I'm here to tell you that these advices are no longer right and will not get you the results you're seeking for. The reason for that is because each and every student is very different. When the admission committees are reviewing your child's application, they want to see something different and unique about your child. They want to see you emerging patterns. They want to see long-term commitment that is authentic and real. So here's what is missing when students are talking about college admissions. They're beneath what we can actually see. So I use this glacier image to give you a better idea to emphasize that a lot of the suggestions that our counselors are giving are surface level instead of digging deep. Really diving into major exploration, creating a passion project because you want to, identifying your strong skills personally, academically, professionally, mastering time management skills and stress management skills, finding out what you truly want to do, finding out that path, doing participating in activities because you want to. So these are the things that we can't really see because we don't ask ourselves, we don't ask our kids, like, what is your passion? Share them with me, right? We tend to just focus on activities, SAT, ACT, AP, research programs. But how come those kids are not getting accepted, right? Because if that's really the way to get accepted into these colleges, then there would be no rejection letters. But what's really important here is identifying inner skills, inner values that no one else has other than your child. And speaking of passion, Angela Duckworth talks about when she was growing up, it was more about facing the practical realities of surviving in the real world rather than the message of follow your passion. And the point that she makes about our current and future generation is this: most young people don't need encouragement to follow their passion. Most students would do it in a heartbeat if they knew they had a passion in the first place. So it's our job to help our kids find that. So how do we enable our children to move through this process with passion? I'm going to talk about that very, very soon. So for my goal for tonight's workshop, it's really simple. It's to guide you through a proven system to get your child accepted into their dream colleges while maintaining their happiness level. It's simple as that. And so you might be thinking, Julie, how do you know this, right? How do I know that this is a proven system that works? I've consulted over 500 students over the past 3 years, now going on to my 4th cycle, and 90% of my students got accepted into Ivy Leagues and top-tier colleges. And out of the 5 colleges that we all apply to, at least they get into one of the dream colleges. And by that, I mean dream, right? Out of their GPA and SAT bounds. And this is a thing. I myself got accepted into my dream colleges, UCLA, USC, and graduate school, Harvard University, even without the best GPA, best SAT scores, and best GRE scores. Anything quantitative, in fact. So don't worry, you're in good hands tonight. I didn't just pull these slides together without any expertise and experience. It's been proven with my 500 and now 600 more students, and I will share the case studies with you tonight. So just to give you a little quick introduction about myself, my name is Julie Kim, if I didn't get to say hi in the beginning of our workshop. And I guide and mentor middle or high school students get accepted into Ivy Leagues and top-tier colleges while helping them find their values, academic interests, and strong skill sets. I help them find out what's different about you, right? And the biggest reason why I do the work that I do is because of this. I got accepted into UCLA Business Economics major, one of the most competitive programs, and just really rigorous and competitive to get into. And once I got in, I was miserable. I was unhappy, I was unfulfilled, and I was lost. The reason for that is because I never understood what my passion was, what my value was, and what guided me. Right? I was always caught up in SAT, ACT, prepping, GPA, volunteering, research, without understanding the why. After identifying, I make it sound easy, but it was really tough. But after identifying my values and passion and academic interests and everything like that, I moved with intention and purpose, which eventually led me to USC and Harvard University. There, I was motivated, happy, and purposeful. And I want that for your child. So now I'm ready to share my 3 action steps with you. The first action step is to identify your child's values. The first action step is so important because without completing the step, my next 2 strategies won't work. And so if you have the value action worksheet, please, please, please have that out so that you can jot down some notes. So here are some questions to get your child started. What do you love? These speak to your passion. What are you good at? These speak to your profession. What does the world need more of? These speak to your mission. What can you get paid for? These speak to your vocation. These are just some starter questions that I use with my current students. Of course, I definitely dive in more, but these questions will definitely give your child an opportunity to just sit down and think, yeah, like what do I want to do in the future? Why do I want to major in finance? Why do I want to major in computer science? Why biology? Why? Trust me, these are simple yet powerful questions that a lot of parents and teachers don't ask to their child or their students. And how do you actually find your value? It comes from taking action. Give opportunities and experiences instead of just talking about it. Students can't just sit in their room watching YouTube. Well, that could be true, but students can't just sit around their room hoping that passion will pop up. They need the right opportunities and the right experiences and the right information to really dive into what excites them. Because once they are experienced and immersed in that opportunity, they'll come back to me and say, Julie, that was so amazing. Can you tell me more about this? How else can I get involved? Or they'll say, Julie, I know that was a really good opportunity, but I really, really don't see myself there. So without experience, you can't really say much. Second, stepping outside of your comfort zone, little by little. If I were to tell your child, okay, James, why don't we go ahead and start a tutoring center? I know you don't like kids, but let's go ahead and, go for it. That's stepping outside of the comfort zone because James had never, spoken with kids. He had never created a club. He's never been public, right? So you want to identify that area, that sweet spot that enables your child to say, you know what, I'm scared. I'm a little bit scared to do this, but let me give it a try, right? And from that, you might fail a little. You might come across roadblocks, but through it all, you always learn a lesson, right? Third, create networks of professionals to see what's beyond your imagination. I always have my students paired up with mentors and professors and just anyone who I feel like will be a good fit for them because you need to see what's outside of your world to get that external motivation. You want to see how other people are living, how other professionals are navigating, and how they came to be who they are, right? And so these are some of the action steps that I have my students take so that they realize, oh my goodness, I'm missing out. Oh my goodness, there's so much that I can do. Right? Instead of feeling like I'm not interested in college yet. And you know what? This is not even about college. It's about just finding yourself. The thing with this is this. I don't want to just talk about SAT and ACT, although those are important, because why are we only talking about college? What about after college? Is college your final destination? College is a point in your life where you solidify your interest so that you can go into the right career path. So while you're there, don't you want to do something that really aligns with your passion and your interest? And what's the point of doing so many activities, attending summer programs, getting all these presidential awards if your child is not having fun, if your child is not motivated, if your child is not fulfilled, your child is not interested, your child is not fascinated, and your child is not challenged for good reasons? What's the point? Is it just to get accepted into the best brand name college possible? What's the point of it all? And let me tell you here, this is a UPenn common data set. And this is basically the chart that they use to identify what's important to when they are selecting their students for the undergraduate, right? And so if you take a look, obviously they consider GPA important, class rank important, very important, as application essay is important, recommendation letter is important. And here's what you see here, character and personal qualities. That's what they're looking for. So no matter what you have, no matter what you are as, in terms of class rank, GPA, test scores, if your character and personal qualities is not being portrayed and displayed and shared with the college admissions perspective, that's where the rejection letter comes in. Because look, it's very important. It's considered very important. Do you see that? So this is not just about finding values and becoming passionate, but it's for college admissions. So it works both ways. So action and value, those two things. So identifying value is not something that we could just identify by reading a book. It's about taking action, and through that action, you find your value. And value is what we consider a character and personality. I want to share Cindy's story with you. She was a 10th grade student when she came in, and she participated in every club possible because she was eager to take on everything. She took on all these AP classes and honor courses because someone told her that taking more than 10 AP classes will guarantee her into Ivy League and top-tier college. On paper, on resume, on application, everything looked awesome. So I asked her a couple of my value questions because I'm not going to have her complete the application and the college admission process without identifying the personality and character trait and values. And guess what? I was so surprised to hear her say, Julie, I'm not interested in anything. So I asked her why. I asked her all my value questions. I asked her major selection questions. And it turns out she was just doing what she felt like she needed to do. This is what her parents expected of her, to get good grades, join prestigious summer programs, and that's what her friends were doing too. It was like completing task after task. Like completing, your to-do list almost. After working with me for 2 years and, setting our values and giving her the right opportunities and experiences, and of course, after identifying what her value was, she got accepted into Cornell University to pursue her passion in international relations because she was just really, really interested in global issues and law and business, right? I don't doubt that I'm pretty sure that she would have gotten into good schools because she was a very hardworking student. But look, I wanted her to be happy. Right? She wrote her essays. She wrote all of the requirements for the college application with passion. And you can tell that from her writing. And even in her interviews could tell that she was passionate about all the things in her resume, right? And at this point, you might think, well, Julie, this sounds really great, but I don't think it's going to work for my child. And here's what I get. My daughter doesn't even talk to me about her personal life anymore. She is so enclosed. Here. The truth is that it's hard for high school students to open up to their parents, and that's just the way it is. I'm not saying that it's true for everyone, but most of my students that I work with didn't communicate very well with their parents. And that's normal because we don't always share everything, right? And so this is where a mentor comes in. This is where I come in. We open up about school life, career options, values, majors, college lists, so much more. Students tend to open up to someone who is more of a mentor figure than to parents who could easily place judgment, right? And another question, how can we find this value? And I mentioned this earlier. It's about taking action and getting the right opportunities and the right resources for the student to say, wow, that was amazing. Or, oh, I want to give it another try. Or, Julie, that was just not it for me, right? So it's a journey. It's not something that you attend one thing and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be a doctor, right? It takes time, it takes experiences, it takes more discussion, right? I like to share another story that resonates with this action step. So take a look at Jason's before resume. I just condensed this so that it's easier for you to read. So he focused on GPA, SAT, rigorous exams because that's what everyone else was doing. He attended programs that were recommended by Facebook group friends. And so when I asked him oh, why did you do this? He was like, oh, I don't know. I just thought that I would have to do it because it has to do with STEM here and liberal, writing here and things like that. So he was just basically fulfilling the requirements, right? And then after identifying his values through many opportunities and resources and things like that, look at his resume after. He only took courses that aligned with his values. He only applied to summer programs and internships that fit with his interests. And he only focused on what he wanted to do more than the formal title. So it wasn't like, oh, I want to intern at Facebook. I want to intern at Facebook because it's prestigious and it's popular, right? It was more like, I want to work at this startup as a social media expert because I love marketing, right? Let's take a look at action step number 2. Make decisions that align with your values. Now we got to take some action. And a lot of those terms like values and passion and interest, those could be a little bit conceptual. So I'm going to give you some examples. So here, value. I value debates and challenging discussions. Action. Join MUN and participate in National Speech and Debate Tournament, intern at a law firm. I believe in the power of education. Volunteer at Joint Education Project and create math tutoring centers to teach multiplication tables to 5th graders. Value. I like to envision that I can create something new. Action. Learn how to code and create an app that solves a problem. These are all past passion projects that my students worked on that aligned with their values. And here's a chart that I show to demonstrate that if your activity and if your involvement in anything is not aligned with what you truly want to do, or is not aligned with your value and what you feel like is important in your life, we don't do it. It's not about doing a lot and hoping for the best. It's about, if you're going to do one, make the best out of it. Make sure that you're doing it because you love it. Make sure that you're doing it because you want to impact your community. Make sure that you want to do it because you want to learn more. Make sure that you want to do it because you want to challenge yourself. Otherwise, there's no reason to do it. I want to share another story with you. And I met Kevin as a junior, and he came into my program with a couple of Bs. And here's the thing about Kevin. Number one, he had a couple of Bs. Okay, I just mentioned that. And second, he had already worked with a college consultant before. And so his confidence was really low because, counselor will say things like, okay, well, you're not going to get in here for sure, right? It's always about, are you going to get in or not? And for kids to sort of accept this at a young age, thinking, am I not good enough? Right? Everyone else gets in. How come I can't get in? Right? So he was just going through so much, right? His confidence is low and everything like that. And, we worked on his mindset, his values, and just everything that sort of gave him this block, right? And I believe, I promised him that if he trusts me, we'll build this relationship together, he will get accepted into his top college without a doubt. And I knew this because Kevin had passion. He loved to talk about coding, startups, entrepreneurship, and so much more. Ultimately, we combined his values in creativity, interest in coding, and entrepreneurship, specifically in online marketing, to create a fantastic college essay and application. It was incredible. Kids, our students, they need to know the why. Why am I doing this? And they need to stop feeling like they're not good enough. Because so many counselors will say, oh, you can't get in here. It's a little bit of reach. Well, the question should be, why are you doing this activity? What's pushing you? What else do you want to do more? And then when the college application season comes, you can tie everything together into a compelling story. You don't need to start thinking about, am I going to get in or not? And at this point, you might have some concerns or questions that I would like to address them before moving forward. Already busy with schoolwork. Like I mentioned, my students don't do a bunch of activities. We focus on one or two that combines their values and interests and passion and strong skill sets and whatever they want to do. It's not about doing more. It's not about, oh my gosh, I'm so worried. Like one of my friends, she has 400 hours of volunteering hours. I only have 200. Are you serious? If that was the criteria for getting students accepted into college, I wouldn't even be, hosting this workshop, right? We do this because we want students to have more time. We do this because we want our students to sleep. We do this because we want our students to navigate this journey and process with intention and purpose. We're just not sure if this is the right way to approach college admission process. And did you see this chart that I, showed you in one of the slides with UPenn's common data set? They want to see value. They want to see character. They want to see personality. So if you're not sure if this is the right way to approach college admission process, right? That's not the way to go. That's not the way to go. Quantity is not the way to go. And okay, I love this case story. Okay, so Victoria, before she was volunteering at a senior center, she attended biochemistry research program at UPenn, helped out at her uncle's CPA office, and then joined 5 school clubs. And she also had about 6 AP classes, I believe. After we identified her value, I gave her a couple of experiences and programs to try out. And then ultimately we found her value and her passion and her interest. And she started volunteering as a reading tutor. She took certified classes in child development and literacy skills, created a club that connects tutors to students with little access to one-on-one math instruction. So you might be wondering, okay, she took like literacy skill certificate courses, so why is she doing math instruction? So what she found out was that while she was tutoring these kids, she was like, oh my gosh, these kids can't solve and write math questions because they can't read and write, right? And so because she was so immersed and she loved math and she loved quantitative things. And so for her, like she wanted to combine literacy and math together, which was really, really specific, right? Most high school students, they'll just say, oh, I tutor at a library and help them read books. But for her, it's a totally different story. Can't you tell that this story is so much more authentic and that she is really becoming an expert throughout this process, right? Because she's not tapping into, activity A, activity B, activity C, but she's just doing one that's going to make her into the best, supporter and expert in this field, right? Do you see the difference here? And when it comes to writing a college application and essays, so much easier to write, obviously, the after resume, right? I mean, how are you going to connect the before one? All right. So the last action step is to stand out by being you, with true authenticity. So many parents think that to stand out, you have to be like someone else. To stand out, you have to go to the Stanford program. You have to go on a TED Talk. You have to do this, that, whatever, right? And while those things are all good, we want to make sure that what they're doing is who they really are, right? So how do you stand out by being more you? Spend more time deepening knowledge and expanding perspective in one area. Don't go jumping from one place to another, following what your friends are doing. Focus on that one activity that makes you truly come alive, just like Victoria's resume, right? It just makes so much more sense. And the second thing, that the students are passionate, right? Number two, don't follow someone else's footsteps. For example, they'll say, oh, this kid who got accepted into Stanford attended the summer program, so the summer program should get me accepted into Stanford. When in fact, your child has no reason to join this program whatsoever because it has nothing to do with you. All of my students who are currently working on research projects with professors, who are running a small online business, who are running nonprofit organizations, they do it because they want to, and all of their projects are so, so, so unique. I also have a student, with a YouTube channel. I have a student with a podcast channel. It just screams, this is me, right? Lastly, show your commitment and dedication in one area, like I mentioned. And so passion project is something that all of my students work on, right? And so they need to do it because they want to. Your child needs to do something because they want to do it, not because they need to look good or whatever it is. The last student I want to share with you is Sarah, and I'll make this really, really quick. And for Sarah, she came in when she was a junior, right? So end of junior, so around this time. And so, in Sarah's case, Sarah was interested in multiple majors. So she was involved a lot. She was involved on campus, volunteer. She had straight A's with like perfect scores. But the thing was that she didn't know how to compile all of her resume and activities into a story that made sense in an authentic way. Right. And like I mentioned, the second issue was that she didn't know what major would be a good fit for her. So what we did was, number one, we laid out all of her current activities, resume, transcript, grade reports, just everything that she's done so far. And number two, we eliminated and created a strategy for her essay so that it conveys her values and personality and passion in life and, academically. Right. So we had to pull that special sauce out of her resume. And then the last action step that we took was to add 1 to 2 key activities that would transform her essay into an authentic story. And by that, I mean, we added one of her passion projects in there. Right. And the passion project combines all of her past experience and strong skill sets and academic interests so that when colleges see this, they're like, wow, right. She's done something that others didn't. She's done something because she wanted to. She was accepted into U Chicago. So take a look. Here's a sample resume with 7 AP classes, perfect SAT scores, president of student body government, pre-med summer camp, intro to coding HTML, 300 hours of volunteering, right? Sorry, let's see. What's the point of it all? Do you think Cornell admissions committees or any college admission committees will be impressed by this if these activities are only driven by what looks good on the application? And nowhere in the recommendation letter or essay or activity section or the college application, you talk about why. Why did you do this? No, they will not be impressed by this. And this is where we miss the character and personality preference. Instead, they want to accept students who can answer this question with passion or a lot of interest. Why did you decide to participate in that program? Why did you create this nonprofit? What subjects do you want to study and why? And how did you get to this point? How do you make an impact in your community? And did you really want to make an impact? What do you value in education and life? So there you have it, identifying your values, making decisions that align with your values, and standing out by being who you really are. That's the key to getting your acceptance letter. That's it. So many people make it seem like it's super duper hard, as if like getting accepted to college is like, oh my gosh, like you're so lucky. No, if you move this process in the most authentic and raw way possible, and really identifying your value, and by that I mean your child's value, acceptance letter is waiting for you. Because that's what they really want to see, right? And everything that I shared today in the workshop, I know you're like, okay, is that it, right? Is that the way that we get accepted to college? Obviously, this workshop is just 1%, literally like 1% of how it really goes down behind the scenes. And so I just want you to know that this is just not like a comprehensive thing, but I try to compile it in a way so that you get the entire story and picture. And I just want to give you as many specific case studies as possible so that you have an idea, right? All right, awesome. So what's next? I want your child to apply these strategies, right? That's why I gave you the value action worksheet. So if you didn't get to print that out yet, go ahead and do so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer a free 45-minute strategy session where we can evaluate your child's current portfolio, like academics, test prep timelines, school activities, volunteering, summer planning, and of course to gain clarity. And if everything that I mentioned made sense to you and you felt like, wow, that's the way that I want my child to live. I want my child to be happy. I want my child to be purposeful. And if that's what you think, then maybe you can schedule a 45-minute strategy session to see if we would be a good fit or not. But this is not for everyone. I really work with aspiring students, and these are the students who have their dream colleges. They want to find their potential. They want to identify their strong skill sets, and they're eager to find their academic interest. So I work with students who are motivated and hardworking. I also work with students who want to take their resume and college application to the next level by really exemplifying their expertise and commitment more than anything. And I also work with a lot of creative students who are ready to create their own passion projects to let the colleges know that, hey, this is my own project. I did it because I wanted to. I did it because I'm passionate about it, right? So these are the students that I work with, and this is when the synergy gets really maximized, right? And so this is the students that I'm looking for. And I have a couple of testimonials from my past and current clients and students and parents, and I just want to share a couple of them with you. I'm just going to read a couple of the snippets. The thing about Julie is that she goes beyond your expectations of a college counselor. She ensured that I remain positive and realistic at the same time. Despite joining the program so late into the application season and having absolutely no plans for summer, Julie turned my weaknesses into strengths. Her college admission strategy is astounding, and I'm so thankful that she guided this entire process. And I also host Facebook live sessions that are free, and I offer advices and tips and strategies and things like that at Conquer College Admission. So if you want to head on over there and join the community, I really encourage you to do so. I also, of course, it's not just about values and passion all the time. We also guide with SATs and ACT and things like that. And so, the student said, I got my SAT score this morning, and I want to let you know that I got a 778 on the essay. Thank you for all your help. I'm super happy with my score, especially because I was really stressed about the essay. This one is long, so I'm going to make it short, but she says, whether it is writing college essays or getting support for college interviews, I knew I was in safe hands. Her daily messages about essay revision, deadlines, and checkups showed me that she truly cared about my future. Counselor Jisoo, Jisoo is my Korean name, is always inclined to assist with anything, even when I was in lack of confidence and motivation. She understood the mental and physical stress seniors faced, and her warm and encouraging words alleviated the stress and comforted me. I'm utterly grateful for all the support and guidance she provided. And this one, this testimonial, it's an email that I got from one of my parents, and she joined my program 2 months ago, and she's going to be a rising senior. She says, you are really supporting her, bringing the best out of her, and we truly appreciate that. This is not something any other counselors can do, and this is a kind of mentoring I was looking for my daughter. Thanks for not only helping my daughter in this college process, but being her true partner, keeping her motivated, help her discover her passions, and much more. This is an experience for life for her, and you are a part of that. Thank you again. So what you can do is, if you feel like the message and the values and the strategies that I've provided, that's something that you feel like would be a great fit for your child at this point in time, you can go ahead and schedule a 45-minute strategy session at juliekimconsulting.com/dream-college. So you just have to pick a day and a time, and then we'll be good to go. I want to thank everyone for attending today's live workshop. It's always, amazing to share my practice and my philosophy and the way that I guide my students throughout this really, really stressful process. And so I want to thank everyone for, attending this live workshop. I know all moms and dads are busy. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A button or the box down below to do so. The questions that you ask will be anonymous, and so you can go ahead and ask me any questions that you might have. And I think that's it for today. Thank you so much. I'll be around here for about 3 to 4 minutes answering questions. So I'm gonna hit stop recording.